The two things you invest. Robert's view. My rich dad often said, there are only two things you can invest, time and money. He also said, since most people do not invest much time, they lose their money. Adhering to the rough estimate of the 90/10 money principle, it can be said that 90% of investors invest their money, but not much of their time. On the other hand, the 10% who earn 90% of the profits invest more of their time rather than their money. That's why Donald and I are able to earn more, generate higher returns, and use less of our own money. Our secret lies in investing more time rather than money. The following diagram illustrates this concept, showing the correlation between time investment and money investment for 3 investors. Examining this straightforward diagram, it's clear why the first 2 investor categories, the non-investor and the passive investor, view investing as risky. They lack proper financial education and experience, making them susceptible to financial advisors who offer false promises of safety and security. Donald Trump made a significant investment in his financial education by attending Wharton, widely considered one of the best business schools in the US. In 1969, upon graduation from the Merchant Marine Academy in New York, I considered joining my classmate A.I. Novick at Wharton, but ultimately I decided against it due to the ongoing Vietnam War, and I chose to attend flight school instead. I lacked the formal business school education that Donald had, but I was aware that this was a disadvantage. To overcome this, I invested a significant amount of time and resources in obtaining financial education outside of a traditional classroom setting. This involved attending seminars, listening to audio recordings, reading business books, and practicing teaching, as I believe that teaching is a valuable way to learn. I also gained knowledge through finding a mentor and becoming their apprentice, similar to how my rich dad was my mentor and I was his student. I was able to successfully take 2 companies public due to the guidance of 2 mentors who taught me the process. My investment portfolio heavily focuses on oil and gas, as I received training from Standard Oil of California and learned from a mentor about oil and gas syndications and how to secure funding for such investments. I continue my financial education via real-life experience and by having great mentors as well as great advisors. Donald Trump and I would not have collaborated on this book if I had ceased my financial education. I have a passion for acquiring knowledge about money, business, finance, and wealth. I anticipate being a student for the rest of my life, as I don't believe I will ever feel fully knowledgeable or possess all the answers. I relish the opportunity to continue learning and growing. Financial experts. Many investors think investing is risky because they take financial advice from financial experts who have very little financial training or experience. 1. Do you realize that it takes us more time to become a licensed massage therapist than it takes to become a financial advisor? 2. Do you know that less than 20% of all stockbrokers and real estate brokers invest in the product they recommend you invest in? 3. Do you know that most financial journalists have very little financial training or real-world investment experience? 4. Do you know how many people invest off of hot tips? Hot tips from poor people, not rich people. 5. How many of our politicians and lawmakers have any real-world investment experience? 6. How many school teachers have any real-world financial training or experience? Don't be a patsy. I once heard Warren Buffett say, if you are sitting in a poker game and after 20 minutes you do not know who the patsy is, then you're the patsy. My rich dad would say, the reason why most E&S quadrant people suffer is because they take financial advice from other ES and SS, or, as Warren Buffett has said, and I've referenced earlier in this book, Wall Street is the only place that people drive to in a Rolls-Royce to take advice from people who ride the subway. Choose your advice carefully. Since your mind is your most valuable asset and your most valuable lever, you need to be careful about what you put in it. Sometimes it is even more difficult to get rid of thoughts and ideas that are already in your mind. It is to learn something new. Many financial journalists disagree with my thought process. My ideas clash with their ideas. They ask, you say you can invest without money. Isn't that risky? Well, if don't have any money in the project, how can there be any risk? Is how I want to respond. A few days ago, I was speaking about investing in silver coins on the radio. A caller got through and said, I'm making 9% on my money in mutual funds. Why should I invest in silver? I wanted to say silver has gone up nearly 100% in less than a year. But I didn't. Instead, I simply said, I'm glad you're happy with a 9% return. Many people think investing is risky because for people without financial education and experience, it really is risky. And it is even riskier when you turn your money over to a financial advisor who has only a little more education and experience than you have. One of my pet peeves is when real estate salespeople say to buyers, this property will appreciate in value. In other words, they mean, buy this now, even though it loses money, because in the future it will make money. Real estate always goes up in value. I would want the buyer to ask, will you give me a money-back guarantee if I do not make money? That usually dampens the sales pitch. When it comes to investments, the questions you should ask are: 1. How do you reduce risk and increase returns? 2. How do you find great investments? 3. How do you know a good deal from a bad deal? 4. How do you invest with less of your own money and more OPM? 5. How do you get the experience without risking money? 6. How do you handle losses? 7. How do you find good advisors? I wish finding answers to these questions were straightforward, but they are complex and lack definite solutions. These inquiries drive me to continuously study, learn, and search. Through constantly asking myself these questions, I have improved my answers, but I have yet to arrive at one that provides me with comfort, safety, and security. As dedicated students, we understand that we may never discover the absolute answer, as there is always room for improvement. The pursuit of answers, even if I may never find them, enriches me. The search for knowledge, not financial gain, is what propels me forward, even though I have enough money to retire. It is my quest for knowledge, my desire to learn more, do more, achieve more, and aid those seeking to learn, that motivates me. Money is merely a gauge, a way to track my progress. It is a sign of success, and a lack of it serves as a reminder to continue learning. Similar to a traveler watching for milestones, I view money as a marker measuring my journey and the distance I have covered. Tiger Woods may seem to play for financial gain due to his wealth, but according to him, he plays to perfect his game. And money is a measure of his skill. It's likely that the Rolling Stones tour not for the money, but because they enjoy performing. If they were unable to entertain, their careers might come to an end. Many retired football players would play for free if they were young and physically capable of returning to the sport. A great book I read recently is The War of Art by Steven Pressfield. I recommend this book for anyone who knows that their life is a journey, not a destination. In The War of Art, Pressfield says, many people think amateurs do not play for money, but they play for the love of the game. In reality, the reason amateurs are amateurs is because they do not love the game enough. Pressfield's main point is that you must overcome resistance in order to achieve your unlived life with it. He discusses the types of resistance that confront us and reveals how often it is self-imposed. What is his advice? He recommends: 1. Loving what you do. 2. Having patience. 3. Acting in the face of fear. I believe I succeed in the game of finance because I have a passion for it. When I was younger, I worked without pay because I wanted to learn the game. Even now, I pass by golf courses and basketball courts and observe young and old playing for free, or paying to play because they love the game so much. I constantly study and practice because I love the game and aim to win. I have extensively researched the history of finance and realized that I will never have complete knowledge. I am familiar with the rules and keep up with the players. I understand my competition and study them out of respect. Long before I met Donald Trump, I read his books and followed his triumphs and setbacks. I also studied Steve Jobs, founder of Apple, and Richard Branson, founder of Virgin. As you can tell, I studied the rebel leaders of business, not the conformists. To me, conformists are boring. Like it or not, all of us are in this game of money. Regardless of whether you are rich or poor, living in the United States, Asia, Europe, Africa, South America, Canada, or wherever, we are all in this game of money. The winners of the game are those who love the game the most. If you do not love the game, get out. There is probably something more useful for you to do, something more exciting for you. Donald Trump and I win much more than we lose simply because we love the game. If you do not love the game and do not want to study and learn, Donald and I recommend you find someone who is as dedicated to winning and dedicated to studying, and turn your money over to that person once you have found him or her. In The War of Art, Steven Pressfield says many people think amateurs do not play for money, but they play for the love of the game. In reality, the reason amateurs are amateurs is because they do not love the game enough. Robert Kiyosaki. Donald's view. I read Robert's chapter before I started mine, which is good because I had the same answers, time and money. He made such good points and thoroughly explained points that I'm wondering to myself, what can I add? I'm not really into etymology, but recently it was discovered that the most used word in the English language is time. Money may have been in the top 100, but it was nowhere near time in the ratings. Then I remembered how someone once explained life as a credit card that's given to us at birth, minus the expiration date. The time we have on that card becomes the big question, not the money. The properties of time have always been of great interest to physicists and scientists. Time is measured by numbers, which brings us to math, which brings us to money. But if you've run out of time, all the money in the world won't change that situation. My wife, Melania, and son Baron demonstrated perfect timing when it came to Baron's birth. I had just returned to New York, we went to the hospital and he was born. Baron has displayed a very subdued temperament, which I think he got from his mother's side. But I still marvel at the timing of his birth. We have no control over certain events, and yet sometimes they seem to be perfectly controlled. I am never absolutely certain about anything, because I am not omniscient. I have instincts, and I have beliefs, but surprise is always a possibility. Because of that, I am far more humble than people might suspect. Oddly enough, I think I have been rewarded for that humility. It works that way sometimes. Linda Kaplan-Thaler, CEO of the rapidly growing Kaplan-Thaler Group advertising agency in the US, made an appearance on The Apprentice as a judge for a car advertisement task. Previously, Melania had been featured in a successful Aflac commercial and praised Linda and her team for their professionalism and kindness on set. I was impressed with Linda's work and remembered her when I had an opportunity to bring on an advertising professional for one of our episodes. It's no surprise that her recent book, The Power of Nice, co-written with Robin Koval, is experiencing great success. Robert highlights the impact of wise time management and the importance of being courteous and considerate. He suggests being selective in choosing advice and suggests Linda's book, The Power of Nice, as a worthwhile investment of both time and money. How does this apply to investing and finances? Actually, it applies to everything. What you do with your time is a very big subject, because lost time can never be recaptured. Very often, lost money can be regained. As Plutarch said, time is the wisest of all counselors. In short, be careful of your time and learn to invest it thoughtfully. This exercise will help to illustrate my point. If you saw time as money, would you be more careful with it? For example, if wasting 15 minutes of your time meant you would lose $500, would you be more aware of how those 15 minutes were spent? I think so. And what would constitute wasting 15 minutes? If you were in the entertainment industry, watching a film would not be wasting your time. If you were in the hospitality industry, checking out a new restaurant would not be wasting your time or money. The answer would be different for each of us. I think we all know when we are squandering time. The assignment for you is to see where you spend your time, and to assess how much money you've invested in doing so. All the money in the world cannot replace lost time, so proceed accordingly. Robert makes the point that money affects everyone, regardless of background, location, or profession. Money, like time, is a shared aspect of life that we all must deal with. People need money to purchase basic necessities, such as food, and so the two are inherently linked, regardless of our beliefs. Money will affect your life. My theory is that if something is going to affect your life, it's best to know as much as you can about it. Will you be able to find time to invest in your financial education? If something is going to affect your life, it's best to know as much as you can about it. Donald Trump. Can you find 4 to 10 hours a week that you could spend on your financial education? Chances are you can. The question is, will you? Make a commitment to spend more time getting educated, and then do it. Reading this book is a good start. What else can you do? For sure, watching Rich Mind channel. See you in next video.